What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video, your girl wanted to bring you another video in my 3 Looks 1 Palette series. In this series, I love to show the diversity in the range that each and every palette can really present for you, in case you have a particular type of style that you like, whether it's more neutral, kind of subtle tones, or whether it's nice and deep and dramatic. So that's what I like to do in all of my 3 Looks 1 palettes, and yeah, that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today. If you're wondering, on my eyes today is actually look number 2, but I wanted to take the time really quickly before we even get into the looks to just talk about this palette really quickly. So I did pick this palette up from the Kosmetics website. I picked this up in the bundle where I was able to get not only the Gemini 2 but also the Gemini 1 in a bundle for, I think the bundle originally retails for $100, but I was able to get 20% off of that price. So I got both palettes for $80, which is a really good deal because I believe individually they retail for like $68. So I got a very good deal. Now, in both of these palettes, there are 10 different eyeshadows. This is the color scheme for the second Gemini, and in the event that you have not seen the first Gemini, let me show you that one as well. So the second Gemini is right here closest to me, and the first Gemini is further away from me. And that first one, you can see you get more tan neutral shades with some deep smoky shades as well, and I'm loving that there is a black to really deepen out all of your looks with that. So you get really light to very deep. In the second one, you get some more rosy kind of romantic corally type shades, and then you get a subtle kind of amount of depth with those greens. So I really like that these truly are kind of companion palettes. Neither of these shades are really duplicated or anything like that. And then looking at them head on, I would say that there are some greens that are in the same kind of tone, but I don't think there are any dupes. If anything, the 2 shades that I would say look most similar are actually Fire OG and then Almond Eyes. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take the time to swatch both of those really quickly for you all. So Fire OG, which is from the Gemini palette, and then Almond Eyes, which is from Gemini 2. Like I said, Gemini 1 is on top, Gemini 2 is on the bottom. As you can see, when swatched, they don't look very similar. This one has more of a yellow tone based, and this one actually looks more cooler, kind of gray blue based. So definitely not similar by any means, which is really good. That shows me that Melt really took the time not only to create another palette with similar tones that are actually kind of companions to each other, but there are no exact dupes. So if you are somebody who originally had the first one and was considering maybe picking up the second one but you didn't know, in my opinion, just looking on these heads on, there are no dupes at all. What I also appreciate and kind of think that is helpful is the fact that there are actually lighter mattes in the first Gemini, and there are only light shimmers in the first Gemini, and there are only dark shimmers in the second Gemini, which is once again just furthering that argument that these really were created to be companion palettes, and maybe even created so that you didn't actually use them separately, but like I said, together as companion palettes. Now that I've talked about the overview, I just want to get into the product details just a little bit. Now, both of these palettes, you are presented with 21.0, okay, so for Gemini 2, you are presented with 21.006 grams or 0.74 ounces. I believe the grams is overall and the ounces are per shadow. You get 12 months shelf life. It was made in the USA, and yeah, I'm not huge on ingredients, so I'm not going to be able to tell you if there's anything good or bad in that. And then in the Gemini palette, you get 18.80 grams or 0.66 ounces. Once again, I think the grams is for the full amount of product, and then the ounces is for each pan. Then you get 12 months shelf life, and then once again, this is made in the USA. So I was really interested in these palettes, not only for the color scheme, but I also genuinely thought these might have been made in Italy. I previously did pick up their holiday palette, which was the Mariposa palette, and I thought it'd be really cool if they brought this palette or these style of palettes with that Italian formula. I thought that formula was beautiful, and I really was hoping honestly that these presented that same formula as well, but unfortunately, as we can see, this is completely different formula. So yeah, but enough talking. What I want to do is really just take the time to really talk through each and every shadow. I want to swatch them for you all. I want you to see them, what they look like on my complexion, and I will also go ahead and put on the screen right now my built up swatches for both palettes. I am going to try and swatch them out for you all, and with these swatches that you're seeing on the screen right now, these are 2 swatches with my finger. In some cases there may be 3 swatches just because the shade is just really light, and I like to build up my swatches for Instagram just so that you can see the actual shade and what it would look like on my complexion. But in my live swatches, which we will be going to in just a second, you guys will be seeing only 1 swatch on my arm with my fingers as well. So hopefully all of these swatching is helpful, and then I will also do some comparisons with my other Melt Cosmetics palettes for you guys in the clip coming up. So now let's get into the comparisons, and then after the comparisons we will get into the 3 eyeshadow looks that I was able to create with this palette, which once again is the Gemini 2 palette. Let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so this is the part of the video where I wanted to go ahead and swatch my Gemini 2 palette. I am just going to go ahead and apologize for my nails. Sorry. Yeah, but if you're wondering what the little bit of polish that is still on them is, it is polished for days Oogie Boogie. So that's that. Yeah, usually I'm better at reapplying, but it just didn't work out today. Alrighty, so this is the inside of my Gemini 2 palette, and as you can see, a whole chunk of the majority of this palette is all kind of rosy tones, and then you have a splash of some green tones in here as well. So I'm really happy with the color scheme. I do think it is true, although in the swatches some of these looked more coral, whereas on my personal complexion, you will see in just a bit, they look a little bit more neutral. Like this one's a little bit more brown based, etc, etc. But I don't want to talk too much. I just wanted to swatch on camera for you all, just so that you guys can see what she looks like. So yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so I'm just going to swatch on the top of my arm. It's just easier for the positioning that I'm at, and we're going to start off lightest and we're going to go to deepest. And so first I already have the shade Bella on my finger. Now I'm not going to do built up swatches. I figure let's show true to what the palette really presents, even though that may be different for the application, which you guys will be seeing soon. But this is the lightest shade in the palette, and this is a lot more peachy orange, even though it doesn't show to camera that way. Sorry, it's just, you know, all of the light is kind of giving you guys a different perception, but this is truly a peachy orangey shade on my complexion. Then we have Ladylike. And Ladylike definitely is a peach, but it definitely has a brown undertone to it. So clearly 2 differences there. This one is clearly lighter with that more peachy orangey base, whereas this one's a little bit deeper because it has more of that brown base. So this one shows up a little bit more kind of neutral or normal on my complexion or whatever. But 2 very beautiful shades nonetheless. Then we have Sweetheart, and now we're starting to really see some pigmentation, some vibrancy on my complexion and in this palette. This one I would say is a really true rosy pinky tone, really pretty shade. And I really like this one in my crease, and I think if you are my complexion, this is really where you're going to see a lot of really nice crease tones. These other 2 aren't terrible, but you're really not going to get the oomph that you can with this one. And you can also kind of see some variety in application with this one. If you pack it on, you'll get more color, whereas you blend it out, you'll get less. Next we get Gemalas. Okay, and Gemalis is even deeper than the Sweetheart one, and I would say this is a little bit more reddier than that one, which is, I would say, a true rosy pink tone. Really pretty for these first 4 shades, and if you were of a lighter complexion, I think this would be a really cute little quad of color. But definitely for somebody of my depth, you really can't get too much with that. These could be really good under eye brow setting shades though, whereas these will really give you some oomph. Then we have Lovesick. And this is kind of, the true red in this palette. I would say it leans a little bit more burgundy than true on red, but still a really pretty shade. I was not able to use it in the tutorials, and you guys once again will be seeing them soon, but I will be working with using this shadow. I want to see if it stains. I don't typically get staining at all, but I would like to inform you guys when I do my review if this shade does in fact stain. Next we have Schmood, and this is the first metallic that is presented in this palette, and this is smooth. It is nice and smooth, but I would not say that this is overly special. It is kind of, I would say, a darkened burgundy-ish shade, if not even a darkened red. It is more on the same kind of tone as the shade Gemalas. I'm sure I've said that shade name like 4 different times or 4 different ways, but you know, work with me. Anyways, this is the same tone as this shade, but it is black, and there's definitely a black base there. But regardless, it's not like that is a super unique formulation. It truly is just like a metallic, which isn't terrible, but it's also not the best. So yeah, anyways, next we have LX Queen, and this is the other shadow that in my tutorials I did not get around to using, and this is a really deep burgundy. This could be easily your deepener shade for any of these kind of rosy tones. Very easily could you deepen it out that way, and it could honestly look similar to a black depending on the placement that you use this shade. Really pretty matte, gotta love them. Then the second and last metallic that they present in this palette is Mateo, and this is a metallic with a glitter, and I do like that you get a similar texture but a different kind of formulation than the other previous metallic. I like that even though they limited the amount of metallics in this palette, they gave you some variety there. I do appreciate that. This is kind of an olive green metallic with what I would say is silver glitter. It's really pretty, and yeah, it's pretty. Okay, so 2 shadows left. First we have Boy Mom, and this is the deeper of the 2 kind of green mattes in this palette. And what I like about this green is it's not only kind of, that skipping was my swatch, not the formulation, by the way. What I like about this green is that it is super deep. So once again, like this shade right here, you can use it and it could look or present itself to be a black depending on the way you use it. But I also appreciate it because of the undertone. There's definitely kind of a slight yellowness to this, so it's just a really cute shade. I just really like it, and yeah. The last shadow in this palette is Almond Eyes, and this is definitely lighter, and you definitely get more of a yellow base there. I would say this is more kind of a typical olive green, where this is a little bit darker than that. So yeah, these are the 11 shades that are in the Melt Cosmetics Gemini 2 palette, and this is towards my ring light, and then this is away from it just so you guys can see it kind of with additional light and without light. So I almost forgot to do my comparisons, but I did want to go ahead and give those out to you guys, just so that I show you guys literally my Melt Cosmetics collection. So yeah, let us start by comparing it with the palettes that are in the same kind of packaging. In my opinion, none of these palettes are really close, the ones in the similar packaging, but let's just start off once again with the Gemini up top, and this is the Smoke Sessions. I did reorganize my palettes back into the correct kind of color schemes. To me, none of these are really similar, and I don't think any of these present similar tones or anything like that on camera. So that is, like I said, the Smoke Sessions. Then we have the 420 palette, and I don't think there's a case for any of these being similar. Maybe the two, but I know they're different. Let's try Full Melt and Boy Mom just to show you guys. So Boy Mom is up top and Full Melt is down below. You can see Full Melt is a lot more of a greener undertone, whereas this one has a lot more brown. Maybe I need to build these up so you guys can really see. Okay, yeah, there you go. I think you guys can really see now. This is the one from the Gemini 2 palette. This one is from the 420 palette. So completely different shades. And just to kind of completely obliterate any option, this is Shatter Me once again from the 420 palette. And although that, I guess in the camera looks similar, I can see that this is easily deeper than this one, and they have different undertones as well. This one definitely has more of a greenier undertone. This one definitely has a little bit more brown in there. So in my opinion, once again, still nothing similar between these two palettes. Then you have the Gemini. So this is the last of this kind of palette scheme that I have from Melt Cosmetics, and like I said before, there really isn't anything similar, and I did do swatches previously in the very first clip, so I'm not going to go ahead and reiterate those. But the last one is the one that I think has the most kind of, I guess you could say, similarities, and this is the Melt Cosmetics Mariposa palette. Now this was limited edition. I need to zoom out. Okay, I needed to zoom out, so sorry if the other parts of my desk are dirty. You know, we got to work with what we got. So as you can see, I think that this has the most kind of similar tones and maybe even color scheme. Do I think any of these are straight up dupes? No, but we're gonna do some swatches. So this is the shade Maria, and then we're gonna swatch that against LX Queen. So Maria is on top, LX Queen is down below. So you can see LX Queen is a lot more burgundy, whereas Maria is a lot brighter and more vibrant. This one is a lot darker and suavier. And just to make sure, I want to make sure you guys can really see the differences. There you go. I just went and re-swatched the Gemini 2. Some other comparisons. Let's swatch the red. Now in person I can see differences, but let's go ahead and swatch it. This is Nueva Vida, I believe. Sorry, I'm looking upside down, and this one is Lovesick. So let's do it in the same fashion. Mariposa first, and then that is Gemini 2. Let me swatch again Mariposa. That one was a little bit less pigmented. So this is the Mariposa shade, which is in Nueva Vita, I think. And then this one is Lovesick from Gemini 2. As you can see, they're both reds and they have similar undertones, but they definitely have different depth levels. So completely different shadows. Whether they're completely different on the eyes, that's for you to decide. As for the greens, I can clearly see different depths, but let's go ahead and show you all. And this one is Guamuchil, I believe is this shade, and the other one is Almond Eyes. So once again, Mariposa first, Gemini 2 second, and Gemini 2 needs to be swatched again. Alrighty, and as you can see, Gemini 2 has a lot more of a yellow base, whereas Gemini or Mariposa, I would say, is a little bit more bluer than actually green. So these are the three shadows between the two palettes that I think are the most similar, and you really just don't even see similarities in my opinions. Now, whether this Gemini 2 is similar to something else in your collection, once again, that is for you to decide. But for me, it was enough differences, and I was interested in this palette enough that I really wanted to bring it into my collection, not only to add more diversity with my Melt Cosmetics palettes, but I just wanted to have fun with another palette. Okay, guys, I wanted to have fun, and I have. So yeah. Alrighty, so now we're just gonna go ahead and head over to the first tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy. Hey guys, so I wanted to go ahead and do another 3 looks for you all, and as you guys requested, pretty much I am doing the Gemini 2. So hopefully earlier I would have already done swatches and everything, and as you can see, I've already done one eye, so let's just get right into it. I wanted this eye today to be kind of subtle, but just to see kind of how light but also dimensional I could use this palette, and I only used 3 shadows, which is quite nice, and I think I can still see quite a bit of dimension. If you're wondering what's going on with my base, I've had this makeup on for easily 5 hours now, and so yeah. Anyways, I am gonna go into this shade right here, which is Gemmalas, I think, and I'm gonna use a Coastal Scents blending brush. The brand is no longer in business, so just any blending brush that is like pinched but fluffy. And mainly what I'm going to start off with this shadow is just packing her on the outer V and then slowly blending her up. Now make sure all of your primer is tapped out, because that will show in the final look. So yeah, I'm just going to slowly but surely apply this product where I want it, and I will just take this same brush and go right under my lower lash line, and if I feel the need, I will go ahead and pick up product. So that's pretty much how I used that first shadow. Then what I wanted to do is soften out those edges, of course, but also blend it a little bit more into my skin tone. So I took the very lightest peachy pinky shade in this palette, which is Bella, and that I am taking with a Chikuhodo GSN 10. And first we're just going to kind of lightly dust that on the edges, like I said, just to help blend that shadow out. And then we're also going to take it into the inner crease that is currently empty, just to kind of add some shadow over that primer. And I am priming today with the Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. And I am going to just take this and just blend out very lightly. I'm not going to be super dedicated to blending out that lower lash line because I didn't put much product down there to begin with. So that's the crease. Very, very easy. Then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take my finger and I'm going to go into Schmood, which is the lighter of the two metallics in this palette, and I am just going to lay this right over my lid. very, very pretty. And I do have to wipe off my fingers, so do that if you're copying me. And then I'm just gonna take a flat kind of lid brush. This happens to be one of the, I believe, old Give Me Glow G15 brushes, and I'm gonna go right back into Bella, and I'm gonna pack that into my inner corner for an inner corner highlight. Okay, so all I have to do is hop off camera. I am going to attempt to do another wing. It's been some months since I've done a wing with liquid liner. Then I'm also going to add my third coat of mascara onto my lashes for the day, and then I will come in so you guys can see the finished look. Hey guys, so this is the finished look. So I just wanted to bring you guys, like I said, a 3 looks 1 palette, and in my first look, or at least sometime throughout the 3 looks 1 palettes, I always like to show a more subtle, kind of muted, soft, natural look that I can provide in each palette. So today is my more natural kind of look that I think would be really, really cool using these eyeshadows. I do have, like I said, 2 more looks, and in those looks I'm going to show hopefully some more dramatic looks that you can create with this particular palette, while of course trying to test out all of the shadows that are presented in this palette. So in case you are interested in seeing look number 2, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so I'm here to bring you guys look number 2 for the Gemini 2 palette, and I'm excited. This came out a lot better than I was expecting, and I think I did well with like the blending and stuff. I always try and do better every time I sit down to do makeup. I did prime once again with my Fenty concealer in almond butter. Got the right words. So let's get into the tutorial. First, we're going to go into the shade Sweetheart. So we're starting to get a little bit deeper into those rosy kind of tones, and I'm going to take a really fluffy brush, and this is the Royal & Landnickel Omnia BOM 44. As you can see, I truly need a new one, but I just refuse. I refuse to get it. I did also set under my brow with my Project Pan items, in case you are wondering. So I'm just going to take this shade and really just fluff it into that crease, really try and diffuse it, but also make sure that it's nice and pigmented so it builds up and it also shows in the final look. I am just going to kind of wing it out as well. And then of course just taking the same product and just slowly building my lower lash line. I will go ahead and reinforce this area among other things later, but I just want to start, I like to start adding like just a layer down there, just so that, you know, that part, if for whatever reason I didn't fully set my concealed area, it kind of starts to set that area so that the dark shade doesn't really attack and stick and stuff like that. So I then reached into a Sigma brush. Totally has been missing, not really missing, but it's been kind of hidden in my collection, and this is a gem. So this is their E33. It's a really nice small brush, but it's dense and it's coarse, so it really blends out really nicely. And I'm gonna take the shade Boy Mom, which is the second to deepest, well actually I would say the deepest shade in this palette, and I'm gonna kind of start to build this look now. Now I'm going to try and do it slowly, so I'm going to add just a little bit that way, and then I'm just going to add a little bit kind of in my crease, so it's just kind of like a corner. I've kind of built a corner, and then what I'm going to do is blend this out so that it kind of gets blown out like I did with that pinky shade. And so I'm going to be blending both up and out, like I said, just to blend out that shade, and just for everything just to kind of come together. I am just going to take that same green and I'm going to focus it on the outer edge of my eye, lower lash line, but I am going to really concentrate it. And then of course blend out. Okay, and then for this part, I am going to slightly bring in this green, but I don't need it to be as defined. I did just want a majority of the definition to be on this outer portion of the eye. And then, like I said, just work on blending her up into that beautiful, beautiful kind of rosy pinky shade. Just so that everything blends out and is elongated. And if you need to, go back in like I am currently right now with that original brush, either adding product or not adding product. It is at your discretion. You also can use really small blending brushes such as the Sigma E36, which is really, really nice to help just blend out that particular area. If there's like one spot that you're having difficulty with, you can use it, or you can just use it to really just blend out the product without it traveling more up or traveling more back. But because I do want that to really look elongated, I focus using a lot of the blending here. And then of course my pet peeve, always make sure that this is fully connected. Can't stand when that part is not connected and it looks like I kind of skipped that area of my eye. And because I elongated this so far out, or at least I'm attempting to, it is blending in slightly with my highlighter. So if you see any sparkles in any of the mattes, that is where it's coming from. It's coming from my highlighter on both sides, because I know I can see it on this side. I don't think it's as dominant on the eye that I'm doing with you all though. Okay, so that is the crease. I had so much fun doing that, and I think that color combination is just beautiful. Then I used a new glitter primer. So I picked one up from Klarity when I picked up my blushes. So I went ahead and just took a little bit. If you're curious, like I said, this is the first time I've used it, but it is a very clear glitter glue. And I just took a really small lid brush. This one happens to be from Morphe. It is their M124, and I'm just going to cut out the area that I want to apply my lid shade to. And as you can see, it's quite like glossy, if you will. But it doesn't feel really tacky, but not in a bad way. Anyways, then I'm gonna take that same diffuse brush that I was using before and just pack on a little bit of the green, just so that it blends well with that matte or the metallic that I'm gonna put on top. Now, switching back to my Morphe brush, I am gonna go into the shimmer for today, or the metallic for today, which is Mateo. So we're gonna take this green and we're gonna apply her with this brush. Okay, so we're doing pretty good so far. And then what I'm gonna do is just take a Real Techniques, I think this is the Instapop crease brush, and I'm gonna hop into my Jackie Aina palette from my Project Pan shadow, which is Trust Issues, and I'm just gonna pop that in the inner corner, just because this palette really doesn't have any shimmery inner corners, and I didn't want to do another matte inner corner today. I really wanted to do a shimmer. So we're gonna cheat for today's look, and then we'll go back to kind of sticking with the palette for tomorrow's look. Then what I'm gonna do is take a wing. This is a small angle brush from Sigma. Again, this is the E65, and I'm gonna go right back into Boy Mom. And I am going to just really close to my lash line. I just want to draw a line. I felt like doing lashes again today, and I wanted to kind of better blend the half lashes. So just continuing to try tricks to slowly get better. So I just wanted to add just a really thin line, nothing crazy, Nothing, you know, super unique or big and bold. I am going to go ahead and tight line, put something in my waterline. Like I said, I'm going to put some lashes on and maybe try and build up this blush more because I don't see anything. So I want to try and do all that, and then I'll come back to show you guys the finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. So like I said, this is the finished look. Once again, I went ahead and put some lashes on, although this time I did go ahead and just kind of reinforce the darkness line with the Bomb Boy even after I put the lashes on, just to kind of once again try and really blend that with my natural lash line. I hope it looks even better than yesterday. I thought yesterday looked pretty good, but I think I can do even better. So I'm trying to just continue once again to improve. I think overall this look looks beautiful. This could be a really cool, like dark, sultry, like you're going out to the club late at night, but you also kind of want to look feminine. I think this is a really cute look. Now, like I said, I used a new glitter glue. I did use the Klarity glitter glue, so stay tuned. I'm going to be taking the time to really test this out, and with one huge update video that I intend to do hopefully sometime very soon, I will give you guys some updates on this, because I have tried it with this, but I want to try it with some other shadows that I can see a huge difference. I don't think I saw a huge difference with these shadows, and I don't know if it's the glitter glue or what. And then I also want to be able to wear this for a long period of time to see if it actually keeps the eyeshadow on my eye and it doesn't like slowly fall on my face throughout the day, you know. So that's that. And then the other thing I wanted to update you guys on is I did go ahead and put on a Klarity blush as well today. I just figured let's start to get to try some of these products. I did buy a lot of products today. I used the shade Rude Nude. On the swatches it looked like it could be built up to work on my complexion. I did try it with kind of a fluffy angled brush, so I think I might have to try this this blush multiple different ways to really get this to apply and look decent on my skin, because to my eyes and from what I can see in my viewfinder, it's not showing up. And I did go ahead and actually build this up even more when I stepped away. Everything else though is Project Pan, and I of course as always will have everything down below, so feel free to just check out my description box. You'll see all of the information for everything else that's on my face. But yeah, that's it. That was look number 2. Oh, really quickly, sorry, nail polish, because sometimes you guys really care. It is Polished for Days Oogie Boogie. So that is what this nail polish is. Okay, so yeah, let's get into look number 3. Hey guys, so I'm here to bring you guys look number 3, and it's quite simple. Not super crazy, not super, you know, extravagant, but I had fun creating it, so let's get into it. I'm going to use that same fluffy brush that I used in yesterday's look, which is the BOM 44 from Royal and Land Nickel. Then what I'm going to do is take the shade Ladylike. I believe that's the only shade of the 4 that I haven't tried, so I wanted to go ahead and try it. And first, of course, I'm going to tap out my eyeshadow primer. Today I'm actually using my Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer. I wanted to, at least in this video, try this palette and this formulation with one other eyeshadow primer. If I was thinking, I would have tried it with a few others, but it's okay. We're going to use what we got left. So I'm going to just take this fluffy brush. As you can see, I'm packing that shade onto my lid, but I'm also fluffing it into the crease. I really just want to set down a layer of this color in this inner corner, so that at least that little bit is set. I don't think my camera is really picking up this shade today for whatever reason. I'm sorry. I don't have the schedule right now where I can get a lot of filming during the day like I truly like to. But anyways, I'm gonna take that time. Hopefully when I look back in the footage, I'll see that you guys can actually see the shades. Then what I wanted to do is try the other green shadow in this palette, which is Almond Eyes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take that same brush. I just wiped it off, and this one is pigmented. Okay, it's a lot more pigmented than the ladylike shade, so do keep that in mind. My other look, or my other eye, I definitely had to be careful because I saw that I was a little going a little crazy with the application. So I'm just gonna take this shade and just basically add it to the other half of my eye, so not only on the lid but also in the crease. I am just going to take the time to blend out those edges best I can and take this exact same shade and go into the lower lash line. Okay, so doing pretty good. Then I'm just gonna wipe that brush off one more time. I'm just gonna go back into Ladylike just to make sure that the Almond Eyes shade didn't take over too much of that crease. And then I'm also gonna use Ladylike to like lightly blend that outer edge of Almond Eyes. So that is the crease and partially the lid finished. Then I decided to take my finger and we are going to go into Mateo, which is the only green metallic. And like I said, I'm just going to use my finger. I wanted to see the difference between finger application of these shimmers and brush application. I've been using brushes pretty much every other look, and so I wanted to use my fingers today. And for the edges, I'm just going to use a clean finger and just kind of tap out the edges of the shimmer. And if I feel like I dulled it out, I'm just going to go back with the finger that has the shimmer and then tap her out again. Okay, so that's very quickly the look is coming together. Then of course you got to wipe off your finger so that you can keep moving forward. I do think I didn't really get to blend it as well as I wanted to up here, so I'm just going to take a brush. Okay, then I'm going to take your girl's pinky, and I wanted to consider testing out some of these shimmers with this palette as well. So I am going to reach into the Gemini palette this time, and I'm going to go into the lightest shimmer, which is literally named Gemini, take that on my pinky and go right into my inner corner. And if you are like me and you're right-handed, just go ahead and take a clean finger, because you probably added just a little bit too much because it was just easy application on this side. Then what I'm going to do is take yet another finger and I'm going to go into the shade Goals, which is the other metallic in this particular palette, and just go up the middle. I don't think that this shade really did all that much for the look. I think there was just too much glitter, and it's not that these two lid shades are similar. I think they're just not enough of a difference for it to really impact the shade, but I did want to just continue to do exactly what I did on the other eye. So that's it. There may be some fluffing of the edges and blending of the creases a little bit more, but pretty much what I did to finish up this look is my liner. And for my liner today, I used LA Girl's Shockwave Neon Liner in Gotcha, which is beautiful green. And then I used my two mascaras, and then I did end up tight lining with my, once again, LA Girl Ultimate Eyeliner in Ultimate Black. So these are the four products I'm going to hop off camera and use really quickly, and then I will come back to show you guys my finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. So yeah, like I said, this is the finished look, and this of course is look number 3, and this is the final look that I will be showing you guys in this particular video. Now, I definitely had so much fun sitting down and really creating 3 looks with this beautiful palette, and I think there are so many different other looks that I could create with this palette, not only by itself, but as I've said, I'm sure multiple times in this video, with its companion, which is Gemini 1. When it comes to this palette and this formulation overall, I do think it's nice. I really enjoy Melt Cosmetics mattes, and I really appreciate the fact that they do put a majority of mattes in both of these palettes. I am really going to highlight this one, but just wanted to add that little tidbit. Now, what I will say about the 2 metallics that they do have in this palette is that, of course, the one is more of just a sheeny type of metallic, and then the other one seems to be, in my opinion, like a soft metallic with glitter. There's no spectacular metallic in this palette at all. I do not think that these metallics have a candle on the Mariposa palette metallics. Now, there were a few in there that I felt like were just kind of cute. They were okay, but there were definitely some metallics in there that I thought really brought a punch, really were unique and nice and foiled. There is definitely no foiled metallics in here. I would say they are just metallics. They're definitely not as basic as shimmers, but they just don't give me everything that I'm wanting and then some. So for me, I do enjoy this palette. I am happy I picked it up, but is it a must-have? I wouldn't say it is, just so far with me using it. And you know, that's pretty much that. I'm really happy I picked it up. Don't get me wrong, I got it on a killer discount, so that also, you know, adds to the ante on me being excited to pick this up. But is this something that like I would run to repurchase now that I know what I know? No. I genuinely picked this up hoping and praying that this was the same Italy formulation, and because nobody that I had watched a review actually stated where this palette was made, and also because it didn't seem to say it on the website, I just took the plunge and I just went for it. So yeah, I think that's really it. Don't get me wrong, once again, I really am happy that I picked this up, but I don't think this is a must-have. And for me, this is the perfect kind of type of rosy tones. I truly thought that these were going to be more corally than they are rosy, but they definitely are more rosy than coral. But for me, you know, I didn't pick up all of these other kind of more rosy neutral palettes that have been releasing lately. So for me, this could be like my equivalent or my version that works for me in my collection going forward. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got. I will be hopefully doing a get ready with me featuring this palette, so stay tuned in the event that you are interested. It's probably not going to go up this week. I just don't have the time to do another kind of dedicated video in this manner. Plus, I would rather get my favorites up because my favorites are like 3 months late. So I would like to get that up. Any questions, comments, if you want to see some comparisons with the Gemini 2 or with the Gemini with any other palettes, just let me know down in the comments. I will definitely make sure to provide those swatches for you all. But I hope that this video was informative for those who were still interested, but just needed to see what it would look like on my complexion. I think the palette shows up nicely. I think it works nicely. Just one more tangential situation. These first two mattes, I don't think show up all that well. I think honestly Bella, because it is so light, actually showed up better than Ladylike. I feel like Ladylike has a little bit too much brown for it to really pop off of my complexion, and I feel like it really gets buried and kind of blends in with my skin tone. So you know, for me, that's the one kind of downer, just this shade. Otherwise, I think every other shade works. I think if we're looking at the palette overall, there's only 2 shades that I have not used, but I do like to test out my palettes a couple more times after I do these videos before I do a final personal review, which will be in a roundup of palettes, hopefully maybe next month or the month after. Just depends on how quickly I get to kind of coming to my conclusions with all of these new eyeshadow palettes. So yeah, I'm not going to keep dragging this video on any longer. Like I said, comment down below if you guys have any questions. One special thing that is on my face, I'm actually using another Klarity blush today, and this one is Honey Mustard. I feel like you can actually see a slight tinge of yellow on my cheeks, not necessarily as much as I was thinking to get, but we're working on things. I'm going to be trying a couple of combinations in the background to see how I can get that blush to kind of work a little bit more for my style. But I'm going to stop talking. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be Friday. Alrighty guys, bye.